This is a presentation on project constraints. In project management, there is this representation of the three project constraints of scope, time, your schedule, and your budget. And they are represented by this triangle to visualize this strict relationship between these three components. Any changes on your time and your budget will have an impact on the other ones. If I change my scope, that will create an impact both in my time or in my budget. There is a very critical relationship with these elements, and I'll show you another way of visualizing that relationship. I'm going to use this graph to represent cost and time in this grid, and the relationship that exists between scope, schedule, and budget. Let's say that I have a budget and I have a time and a scope to deliver something represented by that point, meaning that for me to deliver that scope of work, I have estimated a time and I have estimated a cost. The question is that, can I delay the project and keep the same cost, or do it in less time and maintain the same budget without any cost? We'll see that answering that question has some consequences. This is a representation of my scope within budget and time. If I change my schedule and I try to do the same scope in less time, I'm gonna need an increase in my budget. That increase comes because I need to add more resources in order to do things faster. Produce the same scope in less time means an increase in my budget. What happens if I'm late? If I'm late and it takes me more time to do, I'm gonna need also more budget, the same scope. And the relationship with the time means that I will have to incur in additional cost, salaries, rent, to do the same scope because it's taking me more time. So it will have an impact also on my budget. And this is kind of the curve that follows the relationship between the schedule and your budget to deliver scope. That is important relationship for a project manager to understand, that any changes in the schedule or any changes in the budget to produce the same scope will have an impact. Unless I change my scope, or unless I make an analysis of the relationship, I cannot just let changes on the schedule or changes on the budget occur, because they will have an impact. And that's an important practice in project management, to understand these relationships, because if they are not managed properly, little changes in time or even little changes in my budget can produce problems that then I won't be able to deliver the intended scope. And that can have consequences not only to the project, but to the donor and to the beneficiaries. Thank you.